The Philippines is walking away from China's Belt and Road Initiative, pulling the plug on billions of dollars in promised projects, even as the country struggles with aging infrastructure and growing development needs. So why turn down all that money? Because this isn't just about roads or bridges, it's about power. And the Philippines has found itself right in the middle of a global tug-of-war between the United States, China, and Japan, even after an international tribunal in The Hague ruled that China's sweeping maritime claims near the Philippines were illegal. Beijing hasn't backed down. Instead, it's doubled down, pushing its presence deeper into the region's contested waters. Now the question is, can the Philippines stand its ground in this high-stakes power game on the high seas? And what price will it pay? Every year, over $5 trillion in global trade sails through the South China Sea. And at the crossroads of it all, 7,600 islands strong, sits the Philippines. Take a look at the map. Japan, Taiwan, and the Philippines together form what military analysts call the first island chain, a 2,000-mile stretch separating China from the open Pacific. To Beijing, that chain isn't a line of defense, it's a cage. At the heart of this geography lies the Luzon Strait, a narrow 160-mile wide corridor. Every Chinese submarine bound for the Pacific must slip through it. Every American aircraft carrier racing to defend Taiwan must do the same. Whoever commands this choke point doesn't just control trade routes, they control the rhythm of Asia's seas. If Manila chooses to align with the US and its regional allies, it could help bottle up China's navy, restricting Beijing's ability to move forces or respond in a crisis, especially one centered on Taiwan. But what's beneath those same waters adds another layer to the story. Trillions of cubic feet of natural gas. And above them, millions of Filipino fishermen struggling to make a living. China wants both, the energy below and the territory above. Under international law, every coastal nation has a 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. But Beijing doesn't recognize those limits. Instead, it's been busy building and militarizing artificial islands across the disputed reefs, complete with runways, radar installations, and missile systems. Satellite images now show fortified bases bristling with anti-ship and anti-air defenses, loud proof of China's readiness to use force if challenged. For the Philippines, this isn't just posturing, it's personal. The Scarborough Shoal, only 120 miles from Luzon, was once a vital fishing ground, until a 2012 standoff handed it to China. Today, Manila is fighting to hold what's left. Small reefs and shoals scattered across the sea. Among them, the second Thomas Shoal, home to the BRP Sierra Madre, a rusting World War II-era ship, deliberately grounded there by the Philippine Navy. A handful of Marines still live aboard, standing guard as China's vessels circle ever closer. It's a fragile symbol, but also a line in the sand, because in these waters, every wave carries the echo of a global struggle for power, sovereignty, and survival. On a rusting ship stranded in the middle of the sea, a handful of Filipino Marines stand watch. They get resupplied every few weeks when they can, because each mission to bring them food and fuel turns into a dangerous dance with Chinese ships that block, ram, and blast them with water cannons. And the US? It watches. American warships patrol nearby, eyes locked on every move, but they don't pull the trigger first. Instead, Washington sticks to the same playbook: diplomatic protests, stern warnings, freedom of navigation, patrols. Everything short of actual confrontation. But here's the irony. Every act of Chinese aggression, every harassed fisherman, every blocked supply run is pushing the Philippines closer to America. Beijing wanted to pull Manila away from Washington with cash and pressure. Instead, it's driving it right back into America's orbit. The Philippines has gone from a hesitant neighbor to what analysts now call America's unsinkable aircraft carrier. And all of it started because China couldn't stop bullying fishermen. By 2023, the shift was undeniable. The Philippines gave the US access to 9 military bases, more than any other country in Asia. And these aren't old-school Cold War outposts. There are no American flags planted, no permanent troops stationed. But the weapons, they're very real. Under the 2014 Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, the setup is simple but smart. The Philippines keeps its sovereignty. America gets strategic access. Everybody wins, except China. The first 5 bases included Basa Air Base in Pampanga and Antonio Bautista Air Base in Palawan, both sitting dangerously close to the South China Sea and Taiwan, perfect for what the Pentagon calls rapid response. These aren't static bases. They're launch pads, runways rebuilt, command centers upgraded, warehouses stacked with munitions, all paid for with $32 million from Washington under the Pacific Deterrence Initiative. Then came the hardware. America deployed the Typhoon missile system, capable of hitting targets 1,500 miles away, well within reach of mainland China. That means both US and Filipino forces can strike faster, farther, and harder than ever before. Each year, the two nations run massive joint war games. 17,000 troops storming beaches, firing HIMARS rockets, and simulating full-scale amphibious invasions. China can see every exercise, every maneuver, through its satellites, and it doesn't like what it sees. To reinforce the alliance, Washington approved a $5.5 billion arms package for Manila: F-16 fighter jets, AMRAAM missiles, precision-guided bombs, Lockheed Martin's stock soared. But for the Philippines, this isn't about profit, it's about protection. The US is also helping the Philippines upgrade key outposts, like the naval detachment at Oyster Bay, which will soon host unmanned surface vehicles, drones that can patrol and track Chinese movements in contested waters. So how does Beijing respond? Not with missiles, at least not yet, but with money. China is waging an economic war instead. The Philippines now buys $18 billion more from China than it sells back. A massive trade imbalance Beijing can weaponize at any moment. The message is clear. If you can't control them by force, control them with economics. But as the tides shift, Manila seems to have made its choice, betting its future not on fear, but on freedom. And this time, the world is watching. On paper, a 3-to-1 trade imbalance should give China massive leverage over the Philippines. But here's the twist. Manila's walking away from billions in Chinese infrastructure loans. Why would a developing nation turn down easy money? Because it's seen what happens to those who say yes. Just look at Sri Lanka, forced to hand over its Hambantota port to Beijing on a 99-year lease after drowning in Belt and Road debt. The Philippines took notes, and it didn't like what it saw. The math looks grim. Nearly 25% of Philippine imports come from China. Everything from factory components to electronics to the machinery that keeps the economy alive. When one country dominates your supply chain and your trade deficit tilts 3-to-1 in their favor, saying no to their cash should be economic suicide. But here's the problem. China doesn't just want to build the Philippines ports. It wants to control them. And while Chinese diplomats pitch shiny Belt and Road projects, Chinese Coast Guard ships are literally ramming Filipino fishermen in the South China Sea. You can't hand out loans with one hand and water cannon supply boats with the other. Each clash at sea makes those Chinese deals politically turric back home. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has already axed billions in Chinese-funded railway projects, choosing to eat the cost rather than risk a debt trap. The Mindanao Railway? Gone. Other projects? Shelved, even though they were approved under Duterte, a president once cozy with Beijing. It's a brutal irony. The Philippines desperately needs infrastructure. Manila's traffic is infamous. Bridges are falling apart. Ports are clogged. Chinese financing could fix it all, on paper. But Beijing's behavior in the South China Sea turned those loans into a sovereignty risk no Filipino leader can justify. China's economic influence should have owned the Philippines by now. Instead, its military bullying pushed Manila right into Washington's arms. And while China offers debt and America offers defense, there's a third player changing the game: Japan. Japan doesn't promise control or protection. It offers independence. And if you're a former colony, guess which one sounds better? Tokyo has launched a $52 billion infrastructure program, not just to build bridges and trains, but to prove the Philippines can modernize without selling its soul. Every Japanese-funded project is a quiet middle finger to Beijing's development model. By 2023, Japan overtook China as the Philippines' top source of development aid, $2.8 billion. versus Beijing's $440 million. And that gap, it's only getting wider. That same year, Japan made history, signing its first-ever military aid pact with the Philippines. Under the new Official Security Assistance Framework, Tokyo can now directly supply weapons and defense tech to Manila. First shipment, Mitsubishi's P-14ME radar systems, the kind that can spot trouble long before it reaches shore. It's a new era in Asia, where loans, missiles, and fishing boats are all pieces of the same chessboard. And for once, the Philippines isn't just a pawn, it's starting to play its own game. These aren't your average fishing boat trackers. They're military-grade radar systems, powerful enough to spot every Chinese vessel within 200 miles of Philippine waters. Japan isn't just giving the Philippines new equipment, it's giving them eyes on China. But here's where the brilliance comes in. It's all about the packaging. When America rolls in with Typhoon missiles, it looks like preparation for war. When Japan ships over disaster monitoring radars, it sounds peaceful, even humanitarian. Yet those same radars can track warships with surgical precision. Same strategic punch, zero diplomatic fallout. While China's once mighty Belt and Road Initiative is collapsing under corruption, debt, and broken promises, Japan is quietly doing the opposite, building real infrastructure, on time, and without strings attached. The result? The Philippines now sees Japan as its most dependable partner. In a region where every major power wants a piece of the Philippines, Japan found the secret, helped the Philippines stand on its own. 3 superpowers, 3 different offers. China tried to break through the first island chain and instead built the very wall it feared. America brought weapons. China brought debt. And Japan brought trust. Manila took the best from each. US defense, Japanese development. While keeping its distance from Beijing's traps, it's playing all sides to build the strength to stand alone. Because in this game, geography is destiny. The Philippines sits at the heart of $5 trillion in annual trade, guarding the narrow sea lanes between China and the open Pacific. Whoever controls these waters controls Asia's future. And now, the Philippines might finally be ready to control its own.